do during the season, but it's a little bit rough on my hair, so I dyed it back.
Okay, so we're about halfway through the season, and is there anything you want to talk about to like plug the second half of the season? Because so far everything is crazy. We have the war happening. We have all kinds of insanity. You got what we just happened. Well, for me, I'm not an episode ahead, but for what we just had the episode with Six where he had his whole memory thing.
Yeah.
So you have anything you want to talk about for the second half of the season that you're allowed to say?
All I can really say is that it gets even crazier if that's possible, and it is possible because it does. Towards the end, I mean, I know it's far off, but the season finale, oh boy, I'm really excited to see people's reactions.
Yeah, I think what's really cool about the second half of the season is the first half of the season, you learn a lot about the characters and they're planting seeds, but it feels like it's, we're still in the corporate war, and it feels like a lot of them are more one-off episodes, like the time loop episode where they're almost these independent storylines. But what ends up happening from here on in, especially 9 through 13, is you start seeing the groundwork being laid for season 4. Cross our fingers. I think we can tease out robots and aliens. Watch out for them, man. This is sci-fi. It's like the best part of sci-fi. You get to have robots and aliens. And I think that you're going to see that. We have encountered all of that stuff in the first 3 seasons of Dark Matter, including aliens. I was possessed by one. And I think what's going to happen is you're going to see that stuff ripple forward. I mean, Joe doesn't tend to introduce things for no reason. And it's not Joe's thing. He's a big chess player, mastermind guy. So watch for that stuff to ripple forward.
So in episode 304, we get to see Future 5 list off some ominous things.
Spooky stuff.
Yes.
Which one of those are you guys most excited for the fans to see, or most excited to see yourselves?
To be honest, when I did that scene, I didn't know what any of those things were. I
still
found
know
out
maybe half of them?
I found out a little bit more later on, and you guys will too. I can't tell you what they are, but really there's only a few that I know now. When I did that scene, I had no idea what I was saying, because they don't tell us. You might find out a little bit more, but I can't tell you which one. But I'm very excited about one of them in particular because I still don't know the whole story there. But I can't tell you.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Still pretty ominous, though.
Yeah.
Indeed.
What about the entire story on Sarah? That's the one that I've enjoyed so much and very unexpected. And I think tomorrow's episode, I won't spoil it for those who haven't, but that's a pretty big part of tomorrow's episode. What can you tease about where that's going? When she said last week that that wasn't enough for her, she needed the human interaction. I immediately thought of the AI, like her taking over.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you follow us on Twitter or if you're active in that engagement, people have a lot of really great theories about how Sarah could continue to exist with us on this show, and there is a logical place that she can end up. I'm not going to say she will or won't. But let's just say robots and aliens. I'm going to repeat it again because she's such a wonderful character, and she makes my character a lot more fun to play. And she's a really wonderful actress who lights up the screen. That scene between you guys, or the multiple scenes in Friday night's episode, just gorgeous. You've seen it, and it's beautiful scene between
I love
scenes
being able
between
to do
you guys.
scenes with her because I didn't really get to work with her a whole lot before, and then all my scenes with her this season were just in a white room. It was really good.
Pretty much all of her scenes were in a white room.
Yeah.
For her, she's in like almost every episode. She comes in, shoots them all in a white room, and leaves, and it's 4 days of shooting. That will change probably.
Speaking of, you talked about the time loop episode.
Yeah.
And what I thought was really interesting is the first part of that episode was kind of played for comedy.
Yeah.
So it was pretty funny. But then it took like a left turn when everything was like dangerous, people were dying, and all of a sudden it got really serious.
Yeah.
Especially, it was like your character was very pivotal to know when that moment or when that break was. How did you play that, or which part of it did you enjoy playing better, and how much French do you really use? Totally fluent in French, right?
I do speak French. Yeah, that's although I could not rattle off those technical terms had they not been written. Mind you, I can't rattle them off in English either. So
that was all scripted. You didn't improv.
all the French was scripted. No, that's not true. I did improv some of the French.
Did you?
Yeah, I did improv some of it. Specifically in that scene when we're all sitting around at the table. It's the last French scene where I convince everyone. And there's a few of those exchanges that where I said French stuff, and that wasn't in the script, so that was added in. But regardless, and Joe also speaks French because he's also from Montreal, and that's where that connection comes in. So he knew that I spoke it from my years in Montreal, and I knew. In fact, I live in Montreal. We still have our house in Montreal, and it was 2 doors down from his cousins. And we found that out when we were on the show. I'm like, I live in St. Lambert. He says, what? My cousins are. Turns out we're on the same street, 2 doors down from each other. That serious comedy thing. I love playing both, but for sure, comedy is the rarer thing. Like, we don't get those episodes.
There's moments of comedy. We don't have comedy episodes.
Yeah, so I absolutely loved that because it felt unlike anything else we've seen on Dark Matter and unlike anything else I've played on Dark Matter. That said, we have another relatively comedic episode coming up.
I am very excited.
Episode 9, yeah. Not this Friday, but the next. Oh yeah, that's going to be so much. It was so much fun to shoot that one. And our director in that one had done a lot of wonderful sort of comedy kind of stuff as well. So he did a really great job. I've seen the cut of that, and it is.
Me too.
It's really great.
It might be one of my favorites for the entire season.
Yeah, I think it probably is my favorite.
It's hard to narrow it down, but it's different than what we've done before. So people will really like it.
Can you screen it for us now?
Here we go.
Pull it up on my phone.
And I would be remiss if I didn't.
Going back to 304, what was it like with the makeup process? Because that seemed very...
Oh my.
It was weird, yeah. It's very strange to look in the mirror and see yourself aged like that, and the hair and the latex all over my face. And then I had contact lenses in, and I could not see a thing. So for that entire scene, I was like totally blind. I'm like, Zoe, where's the blue light with the box thing? I couldn't see anything. So I was very relieved when I got through it without falling over or anything. But it was worth it. It looked awesome on screen. Yeah.
After you did that episode, when you got the script, and you went to the end and said, okay, all this time has passed. I'm the last one standing, really, so did you go as a case, but does that mean that I'm safe? Or
that was my first thought. I was like, I don't die! And then I was like, no, it's sci-fi. I don't know, though, because you never know. They can write their way around anything. So I feel like I'm safe, but I'm not. I wouldn't say for sure. I don't know.
I'm going to go out and then here. Not because I have any sort of script knowledge, but because I've seen every episode of the show. And I'm going to say you're probably safe.
I hope so.
So now that you're halfway through with season 3, what's been one of your most memorable scenes that's already been released?
I mean, I know we just talked about it, but I think that the aged scene was one of the most memorable. I mean, talking about all of those things in the future and just like so curious what that means, and I'm really looking forward to finding out what the rest of those things that I was talking about are. What was your favorite? Do you have a memorable one?
I have a favorite, actually, most impactful from the first half of the season. It's the scenes in episode 4 between our characters, which felt like nothing. But as a dad who is constantly called upon to try to put life in perspective for children, the scene taught me a whole hell of a lot. And it's the stuff that you kind of know but always forget because you're always trying to actually fix things, to actually make things better. And you forget to realize that your children are their own people and that they're living this and that you can't make it better. And sometimes all you can do is just be there. And that scene was beautiful to play, and just because of my personal circumstance.
Do you think that 3 is more of a father figure than 6? Like, I mean, I've always kind of felt like 6 was.
I feel like they both have their moments. But
We
6
seem to
isn't
go in
always around.
No. 6 is like, he's absolutely that father figure. He's like the father that you want to have, right? Like in a perfect world, like the guy, well, maybe not because he's always off. He's not necessarily present all the time, but he's saying and doing the right things. Whereas I kind of feel like our relationship might be actually more similar to my relationship with my kids, or any real father's relationship, where half the times you're saying the wrong stuff and you're like, damn it, if I were the perfect father I'd know what to say, but I don't know what to say and I don't know how to do this. And that's the fun part about 3, that he's eminently fallible. He's always doing the wrong thing, or at least half the time, even though in the end he's a really loyal guy and he does care a lot about his family, and he may have questionable morality, but the truth is so does everyone. Come IRS time, what's going in there and what's not, like everyone's got their relative morality, and he isn't that straight guy. So I don't. It's definitely not the father figure all the time, but it's one I identify more with.
But he has his moments.
He has his moments.
In that episode, even if it takes him a few tries to say the right thing.
I noticed something that I don't know if it began in 304, the time loop episode, but I saw it again either this Friday's or last week's episode. You whiskey breakfast.
Me, whiskey anytime.
You were drinking whiskey in 304, and then I saw whiskey on the table while you were eating breakfast, and people came in, and I thought, is this a regular thing instead of orange juice? Or?
3.
Orange juice? 3 doesn't have orange juice. Come on, no way. It's not. I don't think anyone's ever sat down and said, "Hey, if we ever have a breakfast scene, make sure there's a whiskey bottle." We have. I think we've moved away from that rigidity. We seem to be a lot more rigid in season 1 about who sat in which chair and whatever. But then I think that's changed a bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What about 3's big secret that supposedly 4 knows about, and
you will find out.
So that's something that maybe we'll find out by the end.
You will absolutely find out, and I love the way Joel revealed that, and I love 3's reaction to it. And that's, I forget which episode number, 11, something like that? 12? Doesn't matter. Anyway, the point is, you'll definitely find out. Yeah.
They've just introduced or reintroduced the replicas. Okay. They just reintroduced the replicas or the duplicates or whatever.
Simulants. Replicants.
Yes, replicants.
Simulants.
And they just reintroduced them, and I noticed that 2 plays the 2 characters so differently, and there's like just even the way she moves is totally different.
Oh, totally.
Can't tell the difference between 3 and duplicate at all. I was like, what is going on? Because your acting is very subtle, and I was looking for it, and there's nothing.
Yeah, so there isn't, and that's a choice, because when 3 woke up without his memories and found out who he was, he embraced it. He said, no, I am that guy. Like, I'm totally the bad guy. I'm totally this. And he didn't try to fight it. And the only thing that has taken him away is Sarah. And Sarah has, and probably you as well, but the truth is we did have a relationship prior as well. So Sarah actually took me away. And I'm not the person who has departed so centrally from their other character, whereas 2 absolutely has. 2 is not at all Portia. She would never make any of the same decisions, whereas most of the decisions that 3 would make are pretty similar, except for the ones with 5 and with Sarah. So it's there really isn't that big a difference. I think you will, if we're lucky enough to get to season 4, I think you're going to start to see a diverging path for those 2.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.